All right, so check this out. MAGA civil war is currently taking place right now because in the past 24 to 48 hours, Donald Trump has made some comments that are critical of Putin and Russia. And so these Trump supporters who have an affinity for both Trump and Putin, they don't know how to respond. They don't know which side to take. So they're arguing amongst themselves. So let's dive right into the story of MAGA being divided. But before we do so, I want to provide some context on how we got here. So this is an answer that Donald Trump gave the other day during an impromptu press conference on his way back to DC about the Russia-Ukraine war. Have a look.
As well.
Yeah, I'll give you an update. I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay? We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kiev and other cities. I don't like it at all.
Mr. President, what do you want to do about that?
I'm surprised. I'm very surprised.
I mean, look, aside from the weird comments of him being like, I'm surprised, Putin's gone crazy. I don't know what's happened to him because, we've all been very aware for quite some time now that Vladimir Putin is a really bad guy. I guess Donald Trump was the only person who didn't know this. Aside from those comments, he's actually being critical of Putin here, saying, he is killing innocent people. He is sending missiles into these cities, and I don't like it. And that leads us to today when Donald Trump made this very strange Truth Social post at 11:44 in the morning, saying, quote, what Vladimir Putin doesn't realize is that if it weren't for me, lots of really bad things would have already happened to Russia. And I mean really bad. He's playing with fire. Now, of course, there are things worthwhile discussion in here aside from his criticism, which is Donald Trump is openly admitting that he's been helping out Putin for quite some time now. He's saying if it weren't for me, lots of bad things would have already happened to Russia, meaning that Donald Trump has stopped these bad things from happening. He's kind of openly admitting for the first time ever that he has been helping out Vladimir Putin. It's the first time he's ever been honest about this. But once again, he is somewhat, a little bit, criticizing Putin in this post. And now that leads us to here. MAGA civil war that's currently taking place. Trump supporters and Republicans in Congress are divided on how to go forward. So let's dive right into this story. Donald Trump's pledge to end the war in Ukraine through swift negotiations has largely shaped GOP foreign policy since his return to office. But now, Donald Trump appears to be losing patience with Putin. After Russia launched one of its deadliest attacks in years, killing at least 12 people and injuring dozens more, Trump turned on Putin, saying he's not happy with what he's doing, accusing him of killing a lot of people. And as we saw, I don't know what the hell happened to Putin, he said on Sunday. Now, Putin's actions have tested not just Trump's resolve, but that of his supporters. The MAGA movement now appears divided over how to respond. Some are calling for harsher steps, including sanctions on Moscow and increased military aid to Ukraine, while others are saying Trump is being misled or not fully informed. The one point of agreement, of course, is criticism of Zelensky, who Donald Trump has made a target for quite some time. Let's go deeper here, though. Top Republicans broke ranks this week, urging Trump to escalate pressure on Putin after a wave of deadly Russian strikes in Kyiv. Senator Chuck Grassley from Iowa wrote on X, quote, I've had enough. Yes, he actually spelt the word enough like that, of Putin killing innocent people. President Trump, take action, at least sanctions. Representative Don Bacon of Nebraska wrote, quote, it is time for honesty. Peace talks are having zero effect on Putin. His goal is to dominate Ukraine, and he won't stop until he realizes he cannot win. The U.S. and allies must arm Ukraine to the teeth, sanction Russia to the max, and confiscate the $300 billion in overseas Russian assets. And former House Speaker Newt Gingrich praised Donald Trump's tone, but demanded more, asking him to be harsher on Putin. So you're kind of seeing Republicans across the board, people who are super MAGA, people who are a little bit more moderate, but still MAGA all the same, saying, hey, it's time for some action on Putin. It's time for some harsher steps. But that has also come with some MAGA supporters being skeptical, saying, hey, I don't know if we should be helping out Ukraine in the same way. For example, MAGA X account DC Drano cast doubt on the timing of the attack, suggesting a conspiracy to benefit Zelensky. These are the craziest people out there. He said, quote, there sure seems to be an escalation of violence in the Ukraine war just as peace talks were making strong progress. It's almost as if the NATO war machine won't let this war stop. So you're kind of seeing the conspiracies here, the division between some people in MAGA and others, and being apparently there's this massive conspiracy that's now taking place that only this guy knows about. Nobody else has any concept of, but only him. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, Zelensky remains a common target. For example, an account known on X as MAGA Georgia wrote, quote, "What about all the innocent people Zelensky has killed? That's okay. Why is that Chuck?" in response to Senator Grassley's post. And I've also found some responses from Trump supporters on X that also indicate some division in the MAGA movement. This is in response to Cat Turd, who is a very conservative account on Twitter, but he included Donald Trump's post toward Vladimir Putin. This MAGA account says, quote, "I hope he doesn't allow Zelensky to use NATO troops. I did not vote for the escalation of Russia-Ukraine grift. I picture new money laundering schemes in place, and now all they need is the money." So this is a MAGA account. This is somebody who's been obviously vocal in favor of Donald Trump. And now he's alleging that Donald Trump is somehow getting involved in a conspiracy, some money laundering, a grift, according to him. I mean, you're kind of seeing some fractures here. I want to show you another post from another MAGA person. This guy says Trump is now taking orders from Zelensky and following in Biden's footsteps instead of doing what the base wanted him to do. And that was walk away from Ukraine. And he included this article of Zelensky's office saying that Ukraine can't allow the United States to withdraw from the conflict. And the reason Zelensky said that is because that would just give Putin and Russia a major hand up. That's all Putin wants, really. He wants the United States out of this conflict. But really, you are kind of seeing this division. You have major MAGA commentators on social media, like the DC Drano guy, arguing that, hey, there's this conspiracy, there's something going on, there's something bad taking place here, or even Donald Trump is being given bad advice, some are alleging, as you've just seen. And others are saying, as senators, especially more elected officials rather than MAGA commentators, are saying, hey, actually, maybe we should be arming Ukraine. And I got to be honest, I'm happy that a lot of these Republicans are finally coming to this conclusion. They're finally realizing that Ukraine and supporting Ukraine and beating Russia is in America's interest. It only helps us. If Russia gets weaker, then we get stronger. That is policy that both parties have been able to agree on since like Reagan. But, the Republicans, for some reason, have bowed down to Putin. Maybe they're waking up, but I am not holding my breath. I am not sitting here saying, the Republicans are going to do the right thing on this topic. But instead, I'm just cautiously optimistic here that maybe, just maybe, some of these elected Republicans will finally start speaking up. But again, that might be a tall order for many of these MAGA folks. So look, I just wanted to bring this story to you and these new updates that we have on this war, and I will leave it there. I just think this MAGA civil war is so funny to watch break out, but as I said, I'll leave the video there. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate you being here. Make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. It goes an incredibly long way. I really appreciate it. Also, drop a like on the video and comment. Let me know what you think about the story, and let me know if you've seen this MAGA civil war on social media anywhere. And as I always say, I greatly, greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.